Hari Om, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 15. Purushottama Yoga. In the last verse, Bhagwan Krishna said, I am the digestive fire in the body of the living beings. Associated with prana and apana, I digest the fourfold foods. So we have seen already everybody, every living being, starting from worm to human being, everybody has this digestive fire. Morning, the moment you get up, I feel like eating at least something. And yesterday being Ekadasi, the fire was more actually in my belly. I was trying to control my fire. Generally, I don't take rice. In my family also, uh, most of them observe Ekadasi. We don't take rice. But at least one time, nowadays earlier we were eating fruits. Now it has come to roti one time. So yesterday I had one thing called sundal. But the digestive fire was, it is a inferno. I won't say it is a fire. Ekadasi day it is more. That is what I am trying to say. Today is Dwadasi. So it has been kept away. That digestive fire is what? It is Bhagwan Krishna. Who else? That is why even though we don't think about him when the digestive fire is there, whenever you gulp something, you want to uh, dose that fire. You have to think of Bhagwan Krishna. That is why he has given it every time, every 2 hours or every 3 hours. He says, I am there, I am there. We don't bother. We put something to dose it off. And we forget Bhagwan Krishna. He said that. Verse 15. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivittah mattasmridirjnanam apoganam cha vedaischa sarvairagameva vedyah Vedanta kritveda videva chaham. Wonderful verse again. Each verse is wonderful. It has a beauty of its own. We have to enjoy. And the interpretations are also extremely beautiful. It's all Amrita. So that also to be enjoyed. It is not just like that we read and then see one or two sentences and then go. The Acharyas have explained it beautifully. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, Sarvasya chaham hridisanni vishtaha. That is, I have entered into the hearts of the very creation, all the creations. Bhagavan is saying, I have entered the hearts of all the creations. He has entered into his very creation as the Atma. The meaning of high here is nothing but consciousness. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, as space is conditioned by various upadhis, one consciousness is seemingly conditioned as knower and known. That is the beauty. The consciousness with reference to a given mind is knower. And with reference to itself, it is limitless. So infinite consciousness. Once it enters into the body, then it becomes limited consciousness. Then memory, knowledge and forgetfulness. He says, Bhagavan says, Matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. So smriti, jnanam, apohanam. That is memory, knowledge and forgetfulness. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, without the presence of consciousness, there is no knower at all. That is true. Once the consciousness moves out, that is the question of our all actions of our body will stop. Within 24 hours, we will be in the burial ground. That is why Bhagavan says, from me alone, knowledge is possible. Without Chaitanya Atma, no knowledge is possible. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, this can be looked at in two ways. The first way of looking at it is, Ishvara with Maya Upadhi is the knowledge. Always Bhagavan Krishna is having Maya in his hands. We are all under the control of Maya. So Ishvara with Maya Upati is this knowledge. Another way of looking at it is Atma alone. That is Jivatma inside. This knowledge is possible. With the presence of Atma only, this knowledge is possible. Similarly, memory and forgetfulness are due to Bhagavan Krishna. He quotes Adi Shankara here, who says, because of Pava and Punya, that we have this capacity to remember and forget. So if you have done Punya, then you remember the correct things at the right time. If you have done Pava, then you forget the right things at the right time and remember the wrong things at the wrong time or at the right time. So that is because of your punya and papa. That is what Adi Shankara says, which has been quoted by Swami Dayananda Saraswati. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, forgetfulness is a blessing of Bhagavan Krishna. If everything what you have done in your life is remembered, how can one learn anything new? That is impossible. It is a capacity to suspend all the ideas and relegate them to the background to keep the mind free. So you have to keep your mind free. Swamiji is asking one question here. How can one learn something which entirely contradicts what one has been holding all this time? Particularly, this is very, very important in the study of Vedanta, which has to negate every notion one has about oneself, the world, and the God. So we hold a particular view about this. All this will be negated by the Vedanta. Unless you forget, how will you acquire this knowledge? That is what he is asking. Similarly, one cannot be happy if one remembers all his problems continuously. Something happened to your life. What I could think of is some death is happening. Every family is having a death. Then, if you remember that death lifelong of your close relative or the loved one, you can never be happy. Continuously, you will be thinking about. Within 10 days, you forget everything. Then you also sit under his photograph, laugh. He has given me this will, and I am enjoying the property. So you also laugh. So it is a blessing of time. This kala, it takes your happiness and sadness also. It all moves in a state of flux. So Swami Dayananda Saraswati says it is the greatest grace of Bhagavan Krishna. According to Swami Dayananda Saraswati, apohana need not be translated only as forgetfulness, but also it can mean capacity to suspend at a given time all one's ideas. In this sense, it is the basis for memory and knowledge. All these, that is, memory, knowledge, and forgetfulness, are not possible without the presence of consciousness. Naturally, if consciousness is not there, 100% within 24 hours you will be in the burial ground. Who is to be known by Vedas? Bhagavan Krishna says, I am the one to be known by Vedas. Everything that is said in the Vedas is nothing but Ishvara. Vedaischa sarvairagameva vedyah Vedanta kritveda videva chaham. Who is the author of Vedas? Okay, the person to be known is Bhagavan Krishna. Who is the author? Bhagavan says, I am the author of the Vedas. The one who knows the Vedas is the one who knows what is to be known by the Vedas. Actually, Bhagavan is the author of the Vedas. Bhagavan is to be known by Vedas. And the person sitting inside your consciousness is also Bhagavan. So that is what Swami Dayananda Saraswati says. Swami Chinmayananda says, this is also a wonderful interpretation. We have to see this also. Both the interpretations are like One is badam halwa, another is gulab jamun. You can't, if at all somebody gives sweets, all the sweets. I don't have other interpretations. There are many, many authors, many, many acharyas who have interpreted. But I am holding only uh, 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 gurus, my gurus, as Swami Chinmayananda and Swami Dayananda Saraswati. So, both interpretations are wonderful, very, very tasty. You must develop a taste for it, otherwise, nothing will be tasty. So, Swami Chinmayananda says, I have entered the hearts of all the living beings. That means it is not the physiological heart that pumps the blood into the veins. That is not that heart it is meant here. But it is a metaphysical heart. According to Swami Chinmayananda, the term heart in philosophy means minds which have been trained to entertain constantly the positive qualities of love, tolerance, mercy, charity, kindness, and the like. Ahimsa, you can add, go on adding. So that is the heart. The infinite dwells in the heart means, though Bhagwan is present everywhere, he is self evident in your heart. That is what it means. That is what Swami Chinmayananda says. Swami Chinmayananda gives examples. Suppose if a man is having love and affection towards all the beings, we generally say he is a man of heart. He loves everybody. Then we also say the heart of the problem. That is not the pumping heart, no. That is what he says. Then on memory, knowledge, and forgetfulness, Swami Chinmayananda says, it is the divine consciousness which illumines all the experiences in life. According to Swami Chinmayananda, memory is what? Memory is nothing but experiences of the past stored in our understanding, which guides our present and future activities. So, whatever experience you have, suppose you touch a hot vessel, then it is stored in your memory. If you touch a hot vessel, then you will suffer. That memory, it is used for our present and future activities. That is what I think. But that is what he says. According to him, all education and knowledge we have at present are memories of the past. Unless memory is there, we won't be able to properly react to the present or future sets of stimuli for gaining fresh and vivid experiences. It is the process of widening our knowledge. That is what memory. Swami Chinmayananda says, acquisition of knowledge presupposes our capacity to give up our earlier false notions. Something similar to what Swami Dayananda Saraswati also said. So, our capacity to give up our false notions. Imperfect knowledge gets weeded out when a person is cultivating new knowledge. Capacity to forget is essential prerequisite to obtain fresh or new knowledge. It is a fact of life that if you don't forget everything that has happened in your life, Swami Chinmayananda says, you will definitely end up in a psychiatric clinic. If you remember all things that have happened in your life, now you won't be, I won't be reading this, you won't be hearing this. He says you will end up in a psychiatric clinic. Memory, knowledge, and forgetfulness all are possible only due to the presence of divine consciousness in us. Then I am the one to be known. Bhagwan says, uh, Vedaischa sarvairagame vedyah. In that context, he says, consciousness, Swami Chinmayananda says, in all the scriptures of the world, whether it is Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, or whatever be the religious scripture, it can be anything. The infinite consciousness is the only one thing to be known. To realize the infinite consciousness is to reach the ultimate goal or the goal of life. Then Bhagavan says, Vedanta Kritveda Videvacha. That is, I am the author of the Vedanta and knower of the Vedas. Swami Chinmayananda explains this by saying, consciousness alone is the eternal reality. Everything else is only a projection upon it. We have already seen the example, oft quoted example, the rope and snake. So, snake is only a projection on the rope. So, everything else is only a projection upon it. The essence of everything, including Vedas, is this consciousness. The seeker who listens to the Vedas reflects upon their wisdom. Ultimately, he comes to experience the fulfillment of his life. He is also at no stage anything other than the consciousness. The man who is trying to know the consciousness is not different from consciousness. The eternal consciousness, which expresses as the phenomenal power, which makes it possible for life to exist on the surface of this earth. Because consciousness is not there. Where is the question of any living being? No living being can live. It helps the higher life to grow and expand into wisdom. It is the very theme indicated in the Vedas as the eternal reality. To know it and bring it under our experience is to know the infinite. To know it, to know the consciousness, and bring it under our experience is to know the infinite. Then Swami Chinmayananda says, limited ego cannot realize the infinite because naturally it is limited. The divine consciousness is unlimited. Both are in a different plane. So he asked one simple question for us to easily understand. Which dreamer has ever met the waker? If you are in your dreaming state, you cannot meet the waker. If you have waken up, then you cannot meet the dreamer. Both are totally different planes. If this is understood, then it is easy to understand that I am the knower of the Vedas. That is, he alone can know himself. That is what he says. He gives the example, when the river reaches the ocean, it loses its identity. Similarly, when the individual breaks his ego and reaches the divine, he loses his identity as individual and assumes the infinite nature, the divine self. That is what he says. Verse 15 again. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivittah matta smritirjnanam apoganam cha vedaischa sarvairagameva vedyah vedanta kritveda videva chaham. Here I want to say something more. My thoughts on this verse. I have some more thoughts on this. I used to say this is, you can take it as my thoughts. Even Arjuna is questioning Bhagwan Krishna. So each individual has been given the liberty in Hinduism to think, understand, and then he can accept it. So I also have certain thoughts, but I don't want to give it now and adulterate this milk given by both the acharyas. I don't want to give now. Hence, my thoughts on this verse, I will give it tomorrow. Naturally, this caution is given uh, not to claim that it is my thought. This caution is given so that uh, it should not be misunderstood as the thoughts of acharyas. So that because Bhagavad Gita has been interpreted by so many people. So my thoughts is nothing actually. It has no merit or no value. But still I have thoughts. That is the problem. So I want to share that thought with uh, mm, on this verse. So that I will give it separately tomorrow. Hari Om Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu. Narayana 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 நாராயண நாராயண